Students, we have seen how various sectors contribute their share to the gross domestic product of the country. This also helps us to understand and analyze the shift that may or may not have happened for production and employment. In our country, we do not see significant shift in the employment. As a result, there is another classification that is used to focus on the nature of employment. This model helps us in understanding the problems of employment and the related conditions. Let us understand this through an example.
Narsimha is a government employee and works from 9 to 5. He commutes to his office on the bike, which is 5 kilometers away. His salary gets deposited to his bank account. In addition, Narsimha also gets Provident Fund as per the rules of the government besides medical and other allowances. He has a paid holiday on Sundays. He was given an appointment letter when he joined work with all the terms and conditions of work.
Now, let us look at another individual, Rajeshwari.
Rajeshwari is a construction worker who goes to work at 7 in the morning and comes back at 7 in the evening. She commutes by bus to work, which is 8 to 10 kilometers away. She gets 1 hour lunch break from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. She gets rupees 150 per day as wages. The wages are paid in the evening at the work spot. If she works in the same workplace for more than 3 or 4 days, she is paid after the work. She gets work only for 10 to 12 days in a month, and in the remaining days, she has no work and no wages. Rajeshwari gets more work between February and June, while it is an off-season between July and January. She is a part of a self-help group in her locality. In case of any major injury or death while work, the government pays some compensation. There is no government help, however, for treatment of accidents while on work. She is also a part of a group which consists of 6 to 10 workers under a mason.
Students, what do you understand from this?
The working conditions like time, place of work, salary and so on of Narsimha and Rajeshwari point out the differences between their natures of work. Narsimha is an employee from the organized sector, while Rajeshwari is from the unorganized sector. In India, 92% of workers can be found in the unorganized sector, whereas the remaining 8% find their work in the organized sector.
Let us now look in detail about the organized and unorganized sectors. The organized sector consists of the enterprises in which the terms of employment are regular, which results in assurance of work to people. These enterprises are registered by the government, as a result of which they have to follow the rule and regulations of various laws like Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, Shops and Establishment Act, etc.
People who work in the government organizations, in companies or other large establishments come under the organized sector.
Due to the formal processes and methods, it is called the organized sector. In addition to working for fixed hours, the workers in the organized sector have a great deal of security of employment.
Also, they are entitled to extra pay if they work overtime, besides many other benefits. Like we have seen, they get paid leaves, holidays and provident, etc. In addition to assurance of safe and healthy working environment by the employers, they are also eligible for medical benefits under various laws. Not just this, when the employees in the organized sector retire, they are given pensions.
Now, let us see what the unorganized sector is and who fall into it.
Small and scattered units, which are largely outside the control of the government, are what characterize the unorganized sector.
Although there are rules and regulations, these are not followed much. In addition, the employees in these jobs are not paid well and are not regular. Moreover, there are no provisions of paid leaves, holidays, overtime and so on. Also, In case there is no work, the people are asked to leave the job. Besides, the likes and dislikes of the employer and the market conditions also are important features of the unorganized sector.
In addition, the unorganized sector is also characterized by individuals who are employed on their own. In other words, self-employed individuals also fall under the unorganized sector. Individuals selling goods on the streets, people doing repair work, hawkers, these are all self-employed. In addition, the farmers are mostly self-employed, who hire laborers according to requirement.
Students, although the organized sector is one of the most sought after sectors for employment, there is very slow growth of employment opportunities. This is the reason why a lot of people who fail to find job in the organized sector end up in the unorganized sector in spite of the low salaries. In addition to the requirement for more work, there is also a high need for protection and support for the workers in unorganized sector. But students, who and why do you think are the people who need protection and support? Students, if we see in the rural areas, the unorganized sector consists of landless agricultural laborers, small and marginal farmers, artisans like carpenters, goldsmiths, weavers, etc., and sharecroppers.
In India, nearly 80% of rural households fall in the category of small and marginal farmers. There is a need to support these farmers through delivery of seeds on time, inputs on agriculture, storage facility, credit and marketing outlets. In addition, there is also a need for provision of adequate work and payment of minimum wages to the farm laborers.
Students, this is the case of villages.
If you see in the urban areas, the unorganized sectors consists of workers from the small-scale industry, casual workers from trade, transport, construction, etc., besides garment makers, rag pickers and street vendors and so on.
The casual workers both in the rural and urban areas need protection. In addition, the government support is required for procuring raw materials and for marketing by the small-scale industry. Students, if you see the women who belong to these communities who face a lot of issues. In addition to low income, the women workers also undergo social discrimination. This is the reason why the workers of the organized sector highly require protection and support for social as well as economic development. Although the products and services from the companies find markets, they constitute only a very small section of the population who has decent jobs. Students, we can understand the inequality here. The rest of the people find low paying jobs or are self-employed with less earning, or they remain underemployed. Students, don't you think many more people must have found decent jobs in the sectors of industry and services? As we have seen in the previous section, there has been an increase in the production in the industry and services sectors, but not in the case of employment in these sectors. So students, don't you think there is a need to increase the opportunities of employment for all the people? Let us see how the opportunities can be increased.
Let us take the case of Gayatri, who has a 2-hectare plot of unirrigated land. One possible way is for the government to spend money or loans from the banks for the construction of well to her to irrigate the land. This might help Gayatri to not only irrigate her land but also sow a second crop like wheat during the Rabi season.
Students, suppose 1 hectare of wheat can provide employment to 2 people for 50 days. Gayatri can employ 2 members of the family in her own family.
Also, in case many dams or canals are constructed, they can be used to irrigate many farms. This in turn can create many employment opportunities in the agricultural sector, thereby reducing unemployment. Let us say Gayatri and other farmers produce more than what they were doing before. This means they need to sell the produce, which in turn requires transport to take the products to the town. Also, they require proper storage facilities to protect crops from the insects and bad weather. In such kind of situation, the government can make investments for transportation and storage, besides laying better roads to facilitate smooth transportation. Also, if we can see, Gayatri not only needs water but also needs seeds, fertilizers, other agricultural tools and pumps to draw water and so on. Poor farmers like Gayatri will not be able to buy all those, isn't it? It is then that people like Gayatri and others who are dependent on farming borrow money from the money lenders at high rates of interest. This many a times leaves them with huge debts. Instead, if the local banks lend credits at reasonable rates of interest to the farmers, Gayatri and many others would be able to cultivate their lands and earn better incomes from the farms.
In addition, there is a need to increase investments in many industries in the rural as well as semi-rural areas so that more goods and services are produced. Let me explain through an example. Suppose some farmers decide to cultivate millets and other cereals. Setting up a flour mill for the procurement and processing of the produce can help the farmers to sell their produce in the cities.
In addition, industries for processing vegetables and agricultural produce like tomatoes, chilies, mangoes, red gram, rice and so on, which can be readily sold in the markets. This will create opportunities in the semi-rural areas. Setting up of cold storages is another can help the farmers for preserving chilies and onions and sell them when the prices in the markets are suitable. Honey collection centers can be set up in villages near the forest areas for people to come and sell honey from these forests.
Students, in addition to creation of employment opportunities, there is also a need to train the workers on the using of machines and earning effective outcomes. In addition, there is a need to increase investments in many industries in the rural as well as semi-rural areas, so that more goods and services are produced. So students, this is how the economy is shaped by different sectors and the values at various levels. Hope you have understood the concepts well. A thorough revision and you can have the aspects on your fingertips.